And that's how this episode's going to start. That was a beautiful sound.
It was very nice. That was very ASMR.
ASMR, yes, 100%. That
was like a perfect like movie sounding like. Yeah. That was crazy.
That didn't even sound real. Good. Welcome back to Nightcap Chat, the pop culture podcast. Talk all things comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and more. Today we are talking the Shang-Chi trailer and whatever we want. I'm Blade O'Neill.
I'm Lance O'Neill.
Oh, wait, sorry. Did I just groan when someone mentioned your name, Lance? Wait, I know where I got that. Because the last episode, you guys talked about the top 5 episodes, and as soon as my name was brought up, you groaned like a painful, deep groan. So then I sent you a screen print of the moment. You went back and listened to it, and then you admitted that you did, but you said, oh, no, it was more of like a friendly groan. No. Go back and listen, everyone.
No, it was a friendly... It was not... I didn't mean it like... It was no animosity or anything like that. It was just like... It was a friendly groan. It wasn't like a... It was like a... You know?
Okay, so I want to start a thing with the listeners this week. If you're listening, and you... Where do you get most of your interaction? Is it Instagram, Facebook? Comment on there. Was Lance's groan an animosity groan, or was it a friendly groan? Because I'm telling you, that was not a friendly groan, Lance. It was so funny. Your text back was like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, I clearly groaned, but it was more of a jokey, friendly thing. I'm like, dude, no, it wasn't.
And if you haven't...
I made the top 5. Where?
You made the top 3, I think.
Yeah, Lance is like, I made top 1 through 5. I got all of them. I made 1 and I got a groan. I got 1 and Ken was like, I'm going to quit now because Steve made the show. Like, I made 1 of the top 5 and it like shook the foundation of Nightcap Chat.
And
my first appearance made the top 10. I mean,
see? There you go. Mine didn't.
My first appearance made the top 10 too. Because issue number... I mean, not issue number 1. Episode number 1.
That's what you start calling them. After episode 100, we call them issues.
Oh, I love this.
And we'll change the name, like Tales of Suspense 101. Like, wait, what happened to the first 100? No, Nightcap Chat started renumbering itself. And then after another 100 issues, we'll rename it back to Nightcap Chat. Like, oh, we're on Nightcap Chat 300. Like, what happened to Tales of Suspense?
Exactly.
I like this. It's a multiverse of the show.
Yeah. We're just going to do whatever we want.
Because Steve C, he died in the first issue, but then he came back again with double the groans. Mm-hmm. But no one questioned it because it was a different issue. I like this.
Yeah, they combined the universe.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't figured out, Steve is joining us today.
What's up, everybody?
Filling in for Ken.
Steve C, the guy that you'll remember from the number 3 most listened to episode, followed by that exact sound.
Number 3 Nightcap Chat episode of all time. Though I'm wondering if that episode, I think it was 95, is now going to make the top 10. It did really well comparatively over the last, month or so of episodes. It's actually one of our best episodes.
Wait, are you saying I'm going to get bumped and number 3 is going to end up being like number 6 eventually? Because
I don't know. I don't know.
Good traction?
There's lots of things, but we'll see what happens with episode 100 because there's some things cooking. Like,
you should put a list in this notes of all the episodes that I've been on so that people can go back and listen to episode number 36 where
the
Lance
Steve collection.
Hunting from Steve. Yeah, I like this.
I'm making a note. I'm making a note right now. The Steve collection. I can do that. I think on Verbal, which is a new podcast platform that we're on. We got invited and we're there. Never heard of it, but we're there. I think I could do that. I think I could make a playlist and we can make a Steve collection. And then everyone
you should make the top 10 collection, then the Steve collection.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay, so let me just be honest. The Steve thing is just a joke. You absolutely should do a top 10 now. I like that.
I'm doing a Steve collection.
There's so much banter between me and you that it's like an ongoing story that like you kind of have to like figure out.
It kind of does. And if you listen back, it's so just relies on the last one. And then the one episode that you weren't on, I'm not going to lie, I spent the first 8 minutes making fun of you. So it's almost like we only work when we're working together, whatever. It's pretty great. And then Ken's in the background like, cool, I don't get that reference, but all right, that's great. So I feel that.
So we'll look out for the Steve collection. That will be coming soon. So
stupid joke. No one cares.
No, I care. And now I'm going to do it. So speaking of Steve, who's here with us, we got some interesting feedback regarding the last episode. So I'm gonna let him to take it away. And this is in regards to, I was gonna say Staryu, but that's a Pokemon. Starro.
Okay, so it's interesting listening to this show live, and I'll keep this very short, which is almost impossible for me to do. I listened to the show live right when it's downloaded, and then the whole time I'm live texting, Blade, like, oh, this is funny, or you guys screwed this up, or whatever. So I'm listening to the one you guys talk about, the Suicide Squad trailer, and I hate to the bottom of my soul that, first of all, no one really cares about the movie, even though I'm super pumped for it. But really, the fact that Lance's crystal ball and predicting the future was such a big deal in this one, because he didn't predict the future. He saw the trailer like the rest of us, but because Blade and Ken didn't pay attention or didn't care, the whole time he's like, I swear, in my head I see a picture of him standing there. He's like a big starfish, and the whole time I'm doing this, I'm like yelling at my radio. I'm driving around in Bozeman going, yes! And he's voiced by Taika. This is a huge deal. And the whole time Ken's like, oh, that'd be cool. He does like mind control stuff. I'm like, I know! Everyone knows! But you guys didn't know that this was in the movie. And the whole time he's like, Blade's like, maybe you did get this right. I don't know. And then it always goes back to, well, I mean, I do predict the future because I'm Lance. And I'm like, but you didn't. Just because the people in this room weren't paying attention to the trailer doesn't mean you predicted the future. This has been on there. We knew this. There's still shots of it. Just annoys me. I was so mad. I'm texting him. And then Blade's like, yeah, I corrected that in 4 seconds. In 10 seconds, I correct this. And I'm like, It was really annoying. So anyway, Starro is going to be voiced by Taika Waititi.
Oh.
And it's going to be freaking fantastic. And I do like how you said, though, on the trailer breakdown, everyone kind of agreed that Margot Robbie is just the best. And everyone wanted her. Lance, who did you say you wanted her to play? No, someone wanted her to be Captain Marvel. And you know what? You know how much I hate Brie Larson, Captain Marvel. That got me mad.
Yeah.
She would have been freaking fantastic. I had never thought about that before, but it would have been great.
I've wanted her for like 8 years to play her, and it's just like never. I mean, she never came to the MCU for. I mean, I would love her, have her as anything, but that specific role, I was like, yeah, because I like Captain Marvel.
Felicia Hardy, another good choice.
She would be
Black
great
Cat.
for that.
Yes, 100%. I would say even better. I think she's better suited for Black Cat than Captain Marvel. But she's great. I mean, pick a blonde lady. Like I
think any of. I agree. I never thought about that, and that kind of blew my mind. I'm like, now all I can see is a missed opportunity. But number one, I detest Brie Larson. I'm not a fan. But more importantly, then when you bring up somebody that's so much better, she would have been great.
Yeah, literally almost anyone would have been better. So like that's pretty bad.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to bigger and better, more positive things.
It was a good show. I just laughed at how nobody paid attention to that.
That is really funny. And I'm just now Googling it, and now I see it. And I'm like, oh, I see why I missed it though.
Is it
at least I'm not crazy, or you know what I mean? Like, because I was legit like getting like I was getting weirded out. That like I was like, I swear I saw this.
This is my point. During the show, when you started saying that, Lance, I was like holding the steering wheel, yelling. I'm like, you're not making this up. This has been on TV. I've seen it on my phone. Like, pay attention, Blade. I know that you don't care, but this is going to be a big.
I didn't even want to watch the trailer.
Why?
I don't like watching trailers to Marvel, DC, Disney shows or anything. Like I just want to come in and watch it. Like I don't need to be sold on this. Like I just want to just come in and watch it. I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want to figure it out. I only watch trailers now, again, sometimes, if I want to talk about on Nightcap Chat. I do it begrudgingly, but I do it for all of you out there, all the listeners, so we can talk about it together.
I could go off on a side topic on this. I'm so pro trailer that honestly, I think that sometimes the trailers are better than the movie. I love that there's a separate director for a trailer. They have to cut together and come up with good music and make it look good, which is why James Gunn trailers are so interesting because they're so oddball and weird. So when this one came out, it was a huge deal. And at least we're all on the same page. I don't really get what's happening with John Cena in this movie. I think he's a weird character. I don't understand the appeal. Like you said, I know he's a good guy. I don't care. But that's the part of the trailer I'm like, I know I'm supposed to like this guy. I just don't.
Well, don't get me wrong about trailers. Like, trailers are important. Trailers are an art form. But like, I'm a comic book fan. Like, I'm ready. Like, I'll watch it. I don't need a trailer. I don't want a trailer. Just for that. Just for that.
I think it became started to become a little different though. I want to say for me and Blade, when Marvel kind of got to a point where it was like, once they did like things like Ant-Man and Doctor Strange and those movies and Black Panther and those movies were huge hits, it was like, okay, I don't really need to see a trailer anymore because I know what I'm going to get something great, no matter what it is.
Do you purposely avoid them then? Do you purposely avoid a trailer?
I will try to for Marvel movies more so than anything else because I'm going to go see it anyway, 100% no matter what. But like in the beginning, it was always about, well, what are they going to do next? Like I know me and Blade, we would like in the first like 2-3 phases, we would be like, oh my gosh, the trailer just came out, and we'd send it to each other like
and watch it over and over.
We wanted to see is Spider-Man in it? Is it, you know, like what's going on? Like, because it was so fresh and new. But now it's to a point where it's like we've had so much content that it's like, okay, I'd rather just be surprised if there's anything special and you know.
And they changed the way they do trailers a bit because they started altering their trailers to even avoid spoilers, like hardcore, like especially in movies like Infinity War and stuff like
Endgame. I think the trailer for Endgame broke the record for most altered scenes. They took people out and they moved people around. They changed outfits. They changed dialogue.
Yep.
I remember watching it and then seeing it. I'm like, oh my God, Hulk and what's her name are right there. But in the trailer shot, there's just an empty space when they're walking. It's like, okay. And then Rocket Raccoon says something different when he opens the door and all of that stuff. They CGI'd out Hulk and, you know, and Fat Thor, that kind of stuff. So I think that broke the record. You're right. And Marvel's awesome at misleading people. But I thought that you guys would all be into the Suicide Squad one just because it's just going to be random nonsense. You know, and I don't know any of these characters. But since the movie's been made, I have now read and forgotten everything about them. So like Polka Dot Man is James Gunn's best friend in real life. He's a weird actor. He's in a lot of cool stuff. But that guy, that's the weirdest role I've ever heard of in my entire life. And I'm so pumped to see him on the screen because I don't understand what the hell he does. It's just super weird.
I'm pretty sure Polka Dot Man throws polka dots at people.
Yeah, he does. That's his thing. And I'm like, I love that James Gunn was like, I want to put together the randomest group of people. And the trailer I thought was a hell of a lot of fun. So it was just, I don't know. I loved listening to you guys talk about it because you guys clearly didn't care about looking up in advance who was playing whom. And I'm like, what is going on?
It's just like, I mean, DC doesn't even have anything else together. And they're just letting him run rampant over here in this little corner, which is fine. But the rest of the world is already in chaos. And I think in just general, it's going to make it worse. Even if this is good, I'm not saying it's going to be bad. So like, don't get me wrong, but it would have been so much better if the rest of the world had a plan. You know,
is that just a DC problem though?
DC,
right?
yes, absolutely. Because like, I mean,
it's not a James Gunn problem. It's a DC problem.
I'm not.
May fuel it.
I'm not saying James Gunn is not doing anything wrong. James Gunn is being James Gunn, and that's what they told him to do.
Yeah,
and that's fine, and he can go do that. That's great. But I mean, Ben Affleck's Batman. He's not Batman now. He's back, but maybe he's just back on HBO. Robert Pattinson's Batman. No, he's just going to do the one movie for no reason, and then we're going to switch back to another Batman. We're going to do a Snyder Cut, but it has nothing to do with it, and then we're going to kill Batman, and he's going to be like, what is happening? Nobody knows, and not even Warner Brothers or AT&T or DC knows, and they just need to calm down. But that's dumb.
Did you? So I know we had a perfect segue to the main topic. Right now, I'm going to smash that segue.
Okay,
because you're doing pop culture stuff, right? Did you guys see the news that this weekend it exploded that the Make the Batfleck movie has been trending on Twitter? So it just started this weekend, and the hashtag Make the Batfleck movie is the top comic book / movie related hashtag to be going around. You can Google it right now.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. Why now? Like all of a sudden, just because of the Snyder cut, people just want him back?
Yep. Yes.
Cool. That's the easiest answer I've ever heard. I got a silent nod from
it.
Lance and a yes. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's how I felt after watching it. I'm like, damn, it sucks that we don't get to see more of this guy, but why this weekend? What happened?
Release the Snyderverse or whatever was also trending on Twitter, where it was they just want everything that Snyder was going to do, and all the stuff was stupid.
Yeah.
Like it didn't make any sense. And then on top of it, he already said what he wanted to do, so all these movies you're going to see, you're already going to know what's going to happen. So is that what you want? Movies that you know what's going to happen?
You already know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So guess what's going to happen? Like, oh, there were no surprises. Batman died and his son became Batman. Like, I wanted something more. Like, that's what you just asked for.
Yeah. So I just thought it was weird, though, that this weekend that was trending. I'm like, I don't disagree. I would love to see more Batfleck, but I was like, what just happened? The Snyder Cut's been out for what, a month and a half? Why all of a sudden now is this like a thing? It'll never happen, by the way, right?
I have who knows at this point?
Who knows? Yeah,
I haven't even. I don't care about Ben Affleck being Batman. I don't want him to be Batman. I have a shirt in my drawer from when I worked at an advertising agency years and years ago when they first cast Batman as Ben Affleck as Batman, and we had to break into groups. It was a team building exercise, so we had to make bowling teams. So one of the graphic designers, and I still work with her actually now with the work I do. We hire as a contractor. I had her make a shirt. Our bowling team was called Better Than Batflack, and we had the Batman logo. And we put Ben Affleck's head on it, and underneath it went na 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 na. And that was our bowling shirt for no reason. No reason. I still have this shirt. I should show it to you guys. That being said, everyone says he's such a great Batman, whatever. I've only seen Ben Affleck play Batman in The Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman. And that's it.
That's not a good not a good basis for an opinion, but okay.
Well, I'm just being honest.
I don't care. You're not hurting my feelings. I don't care. I'm not in charge of making these films.
I'm just letting everyone know, like, I'm not judging his performance because I haven't seen it. And I don't care to see it. He just looks like Ben Affleck as Batman. I will admit this though, and I've said this before. He is definitely the best looking bat suit out of all of them. Like that's the most comic book accurate. Like that's the best one, hands down, by far.
Ooh,
no
Lance.
contest. No contest. Oh, I forgot about the nipples. Yeah. Yeah. But
I personally loved the Dark Knight Rises one where it was more of a helmet because it made more sense to me. And they even make a good line. He goes, "Oh, you want to turn your neck?" And I'm like, "Yes." How the hell does Michael Keaton? You already rips it off right before in Batman Returns, and he peels it back. It looks so awkward. It's all one big piece. I never understood in A Million Years how that worked.
And he moves like
and
this.
Then. Yeah, how you gonna fight like anybody doing that? So when they made that line in the Nolan ones, I'm like, that makes sense. Making it look more like a helmet, I loved it. But comic book accurate, obviously not. I just thought it made more sense as a movie. But then again, I'm a movie guy, not a comic.
Sure, but Ben Affleck looks great. He's definitely the best looking Batman. So I hope they keep doing something like that. I don't know what they're gonna do. And actually, they don't know what they're going to do either. So it'll be really interesting to see where this lands in a few years.
If someone wanted to pick up the comic books and read up on Batman, where would they get those? Maybe in Glendale, Arizona?
Probably Glendale, Arizona, the corner of 58th Avenue in Glendale, Arizona. It's off of Glendale Avenue, too. So if you didn't catch that.
What's the name of that place?
Oh, that's Drawn to Comics.
Oh, okay. Man, cool. Hey, Ken, This is Steve, your arch rival. Kobe. Exactly. I just backdoored in a plug, and you're still not going to like my show made number 3.
Beautiful plug. Yes, you can catch up on graphic novels there. I really like the New 52. If you want to read some of the Court of Owls stuff that introduces the Court of Owls, you still get some cool stuff written by Zack Snyder. Wait a second. I said Zack Snyder. Scott Snyder. Excuse me. I have Zack Snyder on the mind, and now I'm just mixing everything up in my mind. What am I even saying? Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman. My goodness.
Dude, I'm good at derailing this
Yeah,
show. Like,
no kidding.
I don't even know what just happened. You just have a stroke? You just went through like 4 different people. I don't even know what you're talking about. We're still on.
I'm talking about the new 52 Batman. I was saying, like, you can get a collection of that. You can read The Long Halloween, The Killing Joke. I mean, there's graphic novels, all of that.
Oh, yeah.
The Long Halloween, the trailer just came out. There's going to be an animated cartoon. Well, and it looks pretty good. Long Halloween is a classic Batman story. And if you read it, you'll see where the Christopher Nolan, The Dark Knight with the Joker kind of draws from this comic. You'll see how that kind of plays out. So it's definitely worth the watch. And even what's his face playing Batman wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be in the trailer.
I have a question for both of you guys, because in the last show I thought you would mention it, but nobody did. So I don't know if it's really not as popular as I'm hearing about. But so I just read, and I don't read the comics, but I do read the online breakdowns of them because I feel like they're going to impact the MCU in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I just read that, what's the new supervillain, the King in Black, or whatever his name is? So I just read his whole dramatic ending. So I read the entire thing, and I thought you guys were going to bring it up on the last episode, but you didn't mention it. Are you guys not a fan of this storyline? Is this?
I only read the first 2 comics of the storyline. I haven't finished it yet.
Okay.
So I don't know what.
The bad guy is Null, by the way. He's like the symbiote god. Ken's been bringing it up once in a while. Ken's been staying very up to date on it. I think. Well, no, he alluded to the ending, I think, right? But
I can't
briefly.
even remember vaguely if that was something that's brought up, but I saw Screen Rant post about it, so I read, because they post the last like 4 pages of it so you can read. And kind of dramatic in the MCU world. I don't know how the hell that would work in a movie. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you're talking about mixing studios a lot. I don't know how you make that work.
So I mean, there's already a connection with, I believe, Null, because isn't Null the one who? Am I wrong? No, I'm getting confused.
There's
again.
2 Nulls, so don't get confused. This is Null with a K.
Yeah,
I think the Null you're thinking of is just Null. This is Knull. So this is Null, not to be confused with other.
But they both have the same
Null.
nickname, though. They're both like the God of Darkness or something, which is weird.
You're talking about Null, the Living Darkness. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the other Null has like the same like nickname, which is weird.
That is weird, because the other Null is like a blue tentacle monster
with big blonde hair.
Well, no, yeah, Knull. Yes, he's
look
he
at
has
like other
hair.
names known as, right? Like you'll see it. It'll be like the God of Darkness.
Notable aliases, according to this Google searches: God of the Symbiotes, Lord of the Abyss, God Host, Grendel, Excelon God, and King in Black. So I see what you mean. It certainly is confusing. Is this going to be an MCU thing? I have no idea. Maybe. I would say maybe not for a while, because there's other things to do, and this is some deep stuff before you even introduced where Venom and Carnage stand in the grand scheme of all this, let alone some of the other symbiotes.
So I guess my question is, when these comic characters come to an ending like this, is this not as big of a deal as it used to be? Like, oh my God, this is huge news.
I think it just depends, because you look at something like Infinity Gauntlet. Infinity Gauntlet, I think, was a big event. It's it's one of the definitive events, like Secret War, where the Beyonder kind of took everyone and shoved them on Battle World, and Spider-Man got his black suit, and all that, and that stuck. I think those are the 2 big ones. Because you had Secret War 2, and nobody talks about that.
Yeah, but this didn't even last very long. I want to say it was only like a handful of issues.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It was 5 comics or something.
Yeah, I only heard
but there was
about
a lot of
it
crossovers.
His role just ended. So I didn't understand. How do you get someone that's the new supreme being of the universe that's only in it for 5 months? I just don't understand how that works. And to me, it seemed like it was such a short time for such a dramatic role.
Well,
I don't know, but
this just led into this whole thing with the Phoenix Force. So it's kind of it's kind of a dark and light opposite thing, and it's getting a little weird because now Odin got with the Phoenix Force, and that's where Thor came from, or something. I'm like, what? Like
they're saying Thor's mother is the Phoenix Force. Is that what you're saying?
I thought that's what Ken was explaining to me, and I was like, that's dumb.
I mean, I thought his mom being Earth was stupid, and that might be stupider.
That might be stupider. Speaking of stupider, one last thing based on the last show, my favorite moment was when you guys started talking about how much you spent on Infinity Gauntlets, and then how you were like, I'm not going to spend money on a self-transforming Optimus Prime unless he picks up my Uber Eats for me.
Wait, did somebody say that?
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
Dude, you guys talked for so long about how it's $1,000 to buy the gauntlets, and then Lance said the funniest thing in the episode where he goes, I'm complaining about this when I just literally said I would spend another $1,000 on my third Infinity Gauntlet. And then he goes, did you see the new Transformers toy? And it was $700. And the line was, I wouldn't buy that if it transformed and picked up my Uber Eats for me.
That's funny.
And then someone did.
Is that when I was buying a comic book?
Could be. I don't know. You were not focused because this was the Ken and Lance show for a little bit. And it was just them doing jokes about what happens if you had your own Optimus Prime, which was really hilarious.
Wow. I think I missed all of that.
It's funny that you mentioned that comic because I have 5 of them sitting in my mailbox that I just need to go pick up right now.
You did it too? I've got another one on the way, and I posted on our social media the Champions number 7. Did you see the posters in pretty good shape?
Yeah, I got someone was selling 4 of them.
He had to outdo me. He knew I got 2 and he got 4.
Okay, but someone was selling 4 of them at once on eBay. I'm like, why is this guy selling 4? Like, some people just don't want to pay that much money at one time, you know?
Yeah.
So I was sitting there and I was getting ready to bid, and it was $7 shipping. So I was like, okay, and it was at like $20, and there's like a minute left. I'm
that's pretty good.
And they're high end. It said 4 high end, and they're pretty good shape. So I'm like watching, and I'm like, you know, I really don't want to get outbid, and like a little more than $10 per would be like pretty good deal. So maybe like 15 per, and then I think I'd be good. So I put in, there's like 10 seconds left, right? I put $53, and then I go, you know what? There's $7. Someone else is probably thinking $53 too, because you want to make it 60, right? An even number. So I'm gonna put 53.02. I bid. I win it for 53.02. The other guy bid $53.
How great is it that guy saw he got outbid by 2 cents? What
he got outbid by Lance's crystal ball.
I've been there before where you get outbid and you're like, the guy outbid me by a penny. Like, I'd have paid an extra penny for that. You know what I mean? So I was like, 2 cents. Let's just see what happens. And I got it. So happy.
That's the way to do it. Nice. Good pickup. Very good. Very good. Whoops.
I got nothing on that. I bought some pants off of eBay.
Did you really?
None of them fit.
I forwarded you an email. I forwarded you an email with some free socks. So
I know you did.
I was gonna text you, but I was like, it's not that important. If he cares, he cares. But
I did.
There was some free socks. Anyway, I don't know how to segue back onto anything relevant, so I'm just gonna say we're segueing.
I never bought clothes off eBay, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, dude, I have a weird size pants, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look at eBay. So I found some really great ones. Dude, I'm a 29-34. That's a really hard size to find in the stores. So I found some. I'm like, great. One of them is most definitely ladies' jeans. It's hilarious.
So what?
And then the other ones, they just did not fit. So stupid story. Why am I talking about my pants? I will not buy pants off of eBay again. It was a one thing. I just got a shot.
You're so freaking skinny, but your legs are so long. Holy
long legs. I have a short torso, but I've got these long dancer's legs.
Yeah, no kidding. My gosh, my waist right now is either 34 or 36, but my length is only 30. So like that's
I don't know.
Crazy.
Buying pants has been a nightmare for me. So I tried eBay. Now Lance is laughing at me, and I wish I didn't bring it up on the show. They don't work. I just put them in the garbage today.
That's all right. If I
didn't even put them in Goodwill. I was so mad about it. They're in the freaking trash. I just threw them away. Like, there goes $29.
Oh, you should have returned that.
Return it on eBay for pants. Used pants.
Fair enough. Yeah. All right. I can't argue with
Sorry,
that.
I sound hyperbole, but I just can't imagine returning pants on eBay. These didn't fit. I want my $9 back.
That sounds like the name of a punk band. Returned pants on eBay.
Oh my god, I like it. I'll
Yep.
grant it.
So the Shang-Chi trailer dropped today / yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this, or last year. Just time is relative.
What?
It just depends on when you're listening to it. The Shang-Chi.
I just love it when Lance drops in. He's so patronizing. It's great.
The Shang-Chi trailer is here. Didn't show much, but we're gonna start with Steve.
So I saw the trailer. I'm looking at its sort of timeline of when it comes out. I assume that it's
September.
super important in setting up the next stuff in Phase 4.
Okay.
I didn't really have a whole lot of interest in it when they announced that it was coming out. But you know what? That's not really me being a jerk. It was just I don't know the characters. It's a new set of people that I'm going to have to get used to. Okay, I'll figure it out. I like the movies. I saw the trailer today, and I don't want to sound too negative, but in a very delicate way, you couldn't pay me for a night out to go and see this movie. I just won't see it. This will be the first MCU film that I will not be rushing out opening day for. And it's just because I don't think it looked like anything special. It's a lot of kung fu, and I'm okay with that kind of fighting. I love some of those movies a lot. I just thought that it looked really stupid, and it doesn't seem like an MCU sort of fit to me, and I just have a really hard time investing in it. The sad part is I know eventually I'll have to see it because I want to know what the hell they're talking about later and who these people are. I just, at this point, I think it looks so dumb, and I am not invested at all. I will skip it. It'll be a good Disney Plus later for me when it's out, so I know what's going on. Or I'll just read Screen Rant spoilers, which they'll post 4 seconds after it's released. But either way, I'm just not into it. I thought it looked really dumb.
Wow, I'm really surprised. I was expecting to be the negative Nancy here.
Yeah, wow. I didn't think yeah.
Oh, crap. Oh, so did I just ruin the bit? Does everyone think it looks dumb, or am I the only one that thinks it looks dumb?
Go ahead, Lance.
Okay, as well, I mean, I know I'm the Iron Man fan, right? You know, the Mandarin movie finally comes out and he's dead. Great, you know, but this movie, I have zero interest in. I watched it and there was nothing really interesting to me about really any of it. I feel like that they might have been trying to do like the typical new Marvel thing of like, let's hold back our punches and keep it for the film. But I think in this case, you need to show me a lot more in your next trailer or something to get me to want to watch this. And that being said, I'm still probably going to go see it in the movie theater. But I'm going to see it just because they haven't disappointed me yet. It's kind of like I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, I'm going to come see it. But I mean, I don't really like the whole, I get the ring thing. I get the whole Mandarin, you know, he got the rings from a dragon, so you could fit it on his wrists. So it doesn't make sense that it would fit on his hand. But like it's almost like iconic. His rings and like the symbols on his rings, they were so cool. Like I remember looking as a kid and like I used to draw Mandarin and draw his like rings and like be like, oh, what's that shape and whatever, and it'd be like it was a cool thing. It was something that I enjoyed as a kid. So I don't really like that they changed that. The whole he's his father thing is kind of weird. I don't really care for Shang-Chi, so I don't really. To me, I just don't care if that they make that him his father, whatever. But I also at the same time I feel like you've done so many like, oh, it's his father, oh, it's his brother storylines. Like, why did we have to do this again?
We had to do another like oh, it's his brother, it's his father.
Yeah, like because like how many times are we gonna do that? You know, so just like you should have just made it its own thing. And like I said, there's nothing like it looked like it was kind of funny, but there's nothing getting me to go see this. Like it doesn't look that good. It looks whatever.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, and to be fair, this is just a teaser, right? But like even as a teaser, like I don't feel teased, you know, like I'm like, I want to see more, you know. All we saw was Shang-Chi running around and he doesn't want to inherit his father's whatever, who is now the Mandarin for some reason. And we're making this connection just because, I guess. I'm assuming, I guess, just because it makes it easier for them to meet each other. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the thought process is. While I understand the dragon thing with the rings are now bracelets or whatever, like, I think I'm really disappointed in Marvel for making that stupid decision. And I know I see a lot of positive reactions to it, and I simply just do not agree. You blew it with the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, and you've been, how long ago did Iron Man 3 come out? And we've been
I don't know, 8 years ago.
And we've been promised the return of the Mandarin ever since the Hail to the King short, where they confirmed the Mandarin was real. And like, you don't just do him right, you know, like Lance is right. Like, the rings on his hands are, okay, there you go. 8 years. We had this build up to somebody whose performance, quite frankly, is not as interesting as what Ben Kingsley was doing, even though, you know, the director blew it, you know, for him, because, you know, Ben Kingsley had a phenomenal performance up until the Trevor reveal. The Mandarin was terrifying, you know. Was it different than the comics? Yes, but it worked for what Marvel was doing. And now they're just like, I don't know, they're trying to make too much sense. Like, oh, it was a dragon, so blah blah blah, whatever. Like, those bands look so boring. They're just plain rings that fit around your forearm. Like, what is, I don't understand what the point of that is. And like Steve said, Kung Fu movies are lots of fun. I definitely got a lot of those vibes, but I didn't get it's a superhero genre movie that has a Kung Fu subgenre to it. You know, that's been like the great thing about movies like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, it was their sci-fi superhero movie. You know, Captain America was like their World War II superhero movie. Winter Soldier was like the political thriller superhero movie, you know, and the subgenres is something that Marvel's really strong at. So I hope that we see something else in another trailer that really shows like, well, this is going to be a fun superhero movie with Kung Fu elements, you know?
Yeah, they just don't show enough, though, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
And you know what, Lance, to your point before, it's a teaser. It's just a teaser, and I get that. But for your teaser, you better pack a good punch to get people into an interesting new into a new franchise. Do you remember the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy? Everyone thought it was going to be lame and weird, and they didn't understand these new characters. And the trailer had everyone like, okay, so the soundtrack's awesome. Let's watch it again. What is with the freaking tree that talks? And it got people talking. This is the exact opposite to me. This at the end, I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to look up these characters. I don't need to spend any more time researching them. And I know that it's a teaser and we'll probably get more. And I agree again with what Lance said. They have not really upset me yet. Even you have to go watch. I did a 60-second movie review for it. The first time I saw Captain Marvel, I didn't even mind it. The second time I saw it, I said, I take back everything I said. This is the worst. But you're right. They haven't really let me down. So, of course, I'm going to see it. And I love to know what's going on throughout the timeline. And later, you know, when the next whatever the hell they do, I'm like, oh, that's a reference to, you know, the rings, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I'll do it for that. But I am not rushing out to see that first weekend. I mean, this is going to be a Tuesday matinee at best if I'm going to go see it in the theaters. But I'll be honest, to me, this seems perfect for me to wait and watch it for Disney Plus when I don't have to pay the $30 to watch it. I just don't care. I don't know. But also, am I wrong? Because MCU Phase 4 is full of these new stories and these new characters. And I'm going to have to eventually get on board with the new people because it's a new phase and it's new crap. This was such a bad first taste to me. Like, this is what we're coming out of the gate with. Is this? I was like, I am not in.
I'm not really into it either. And the only thing that's kind of weird is, I could be wrong, but I want to say this movie comes out and then Venom. Is it the Venom movie that comes out like 2 weeks after it? Or is that for the Eternals that comes out 2 months later?
It's Eternals.
So 2 months later we have Eternals. Then like 2 weeks later we have Venom. So it's like you almost, if this does have immediate continuity with those two films, you have to see it and then have to go see those films.
Yes. So they have changed the release date multiple times, but it's Eternals. Well, Shang-Chi, the Eternals. Well, Black Widow, then this, and then Eternals, and then you have Loki, and the What If, and then you have Hawkeye and Thor and those ones. So that's in the
wait. July is Black Widow.
That's when is she?
July
when
is Black
this?
Widow.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the next one, right?
No,
Yeah, and then Shang-Chi
Loki comes out in
I'm
May.
talking about big. I'm talking about the theatrical, not series. I'm sorry.
Okay. Shang-Chi doesn't come out till September.
Right,
Yeah.
and Eternals is November.
Yes.
So
And Venom's
so far,
also November.
Okay.
For now.
I
Hey,
think.
that's kind of, is that right? I know that they just wrapped filming on that. I thought that was delayed a little while longer. I don't know. You could be right, but I don't know. It just seemed. And then it still says that next spring is Thor. We're a year away from that, or
I have no idea.
they have changed this list. There are like 7 different versions of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the most up to date version. So either way, I don't know. I'm not that pumped about it. So
Yeah, I'm not either. I was expecting a different kind of take from you there. I'm surprised we didn't get it, but I guess I feel a little more justified.
And I will say this: there's a coworker right at work that I usually talk about Marvel films with, because they're not really into the comics, but they're really in, like they're starting getting into Marvel because of the movies, right? And it's a younger, 19 years old, a younger guy. And usually whenever there's anything Marvel drops, he'll run up to me and be like, what do you think or whatever, and like we'll talk about it. And like he didn't even say a word to me about it. And then I was like, hey, did you see the trailer? And he was like, oh yeah, like, dude, like, he didn't even, he was just like, it was what like, and I know by that I was like, yeah, this is not it. Like they need to do something else.
Dude, you're so right. That's 4 for 4. Like I just, and if you include my wife, Sarah, she saw it. She was just like, dude, I am not watching this. That was like her exact response. I'm like, okay, cool. That was the end of the conversation. There was no debate. There was no question, because we all agreed, like, nah, this is not looking great.
Yeah, my wife was pulling up on her phone, and I was like, oh, like cast it on the TV while I'm cooking. I'm like, well, watch it. And I stopped. We watched it in 4K and surround sound, and it was like, we watched it, and I was like, wow, I want that 2 minutes of my life back.
Yeah.
I stopped cooking for this. I just want to be cooking now.
Yeah. So I'm not involved.
I mean, obviously, like I know who Shang-Chi is, and I think it's really cool he's getting a movie, and I'm glad, and I hope it does well, and I hope to see him around more, but there just wasn't anything hooking me into this, which kind of sucks, but we'll see what happens. You'll never know. They probably have some tricks up their sleeve, right?
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, maybe this will most likely set up Fing Fang Foom or something. Especially, I mean, we're gonna see this dragon, right? If the Mandarin has the rings,
that would be cool. And I feel like if you want people to you want to like clickbait people to come seeing it, like put a dragon like paw or whatever you want to call it, just slam down in the ground for a second and just be like, oh, there's a dragon in this. Like,
yeah,
now I want to go see it.
For example, to your point, I had no interest in seeing the New Mutants until everyone I was reading, they were like, oh, hey, there's a demon bear in this. I'm like, a what? A demon bear? I'm like, oh, I'm in.
It was the demon bear story.
A big dragon hand might get me involved a little bit more. I don't know. Even that, I don't think it would have me. I'm pretty positive this will be a rental. And I mean, not even a rental. It'll just be when it's on. I'll catch it eventually. I don't really seem like it.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was like meant to be, but I think that if they are doing that on purpose, they are a little too comfortable with like, oh, people are just going to come see it anyway, because this is not it. Like, this is just it's a little too far removed from the usual. I feel like that you got to give us something.
So, okay. So to that point, and this is where I'm such a hypocritical douche, I love that they give people the reins to do pretty much whatever that they want. And I've said this so many times. They let James Gunn make Guardians and go, I mean, just do your thing. And it worked out. We just had so much fun watching, what's it called? WandaVision. That is not the MCU template. And it worked out. I loved it. And even the ending I liked. So I love the idea that they're letting people do their thing. Star Wars wouldn't even let Phil Lord and Chris Miller make a solo film. They fired them the day before they got executive rights on the script, right? And then they hired them. So like Disney itself still maintains control, but I like how the MCU, they kind of let people do their thing. So to your point, maybe they did just let them do it and say, hey, Esposito and all of them are like, just make your movie. I love that they give these people creative reign to do what they want, except I like how you said it. This seemed a little too far removed, like a little too different as far as, I don't know. Everything else seems like it made sense to me. The trailers for WandaVision, I still felt like it was an MCU film, not just because I recognized the stars of it. I just felt like the tone was there, even though it was based in black and white. I still felt MCU. This one just didn't feel like it to me. I don't know.
I feel like for that, what all they have to really do is put like some part of the connection into the film, into the trailer. Like if you watch this trailer and it didn't show a Marvel logo before it, 90% of the people that watch it would have no idea what this is even about.
Lance, I said that when I was done. I'm like, wait, is this even like a thing? Like, what timeline are we in? Because you're right. If it didn't start with that logo, I would have had no idea.
Right. So, like, how about doing like him threatening Trevor or something? Like, put something of value that you're like, oh, that was from that. I can kind of link it.
How great of an opening would it be to like you see these people bringing in this guy with a bag on his head, and they rip the bag off, and you see it's Ben Kingsley. He's all like beaten to hell, and he's like, you sinned against, the Mandarin or whatever. And like, they just like, that would have been a crazy, that would have hooked you and been like, whoa.
That would have been the immediate redemption for you guys, because you hated how they treated the Mandarin before. So looking at like this, that'd be immediate. That's like clickbait crazy for you guys.
Right.
And I would have.
It would make you be like, oh yeah, I understand what's kind of going on, sort of.
Yeah, exactly, sort of. All I need is one little bit of a hook to get me in, right? Mm-hmm. But I also sound hypocritical because I love it when you don't have to. There was no hook for me with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I went in because we saw a free 15-minute clip, and I was in. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. And I was in. So it didn't have any hook. It doesn't have to. This one just seemed like it did, because it was such a dull sort of concept to me. I don't know. Dull sounds mean, but I was kind of bored. I was like, okay. Yeah. He's fighting people in a train. I've seen this in every other movie, and I just don't care. There's nothing original about it.
I have a feeling that we're gonna get a couple of bad Marvel things. I think what you said, like your Marvel's letting people off the leash and they're not paying enough attention. I think they let the leash go too far, and to me, like, I know a lot of people like Falcon Winter Soldier. Like, I don't care about it. I haven't been watching it. Ragnarok, I think, sucked. And I think it's overrated. I know a lot of people like it, and that's fine. That's fine. It wasn't like the worst thing ever, but I think a movie called Thor Ragnarok, which is about the end of Asgard, needed to be a little more serious than what Taika Waititi did. Not that he's bad or anything, but just given what it was. Like, we're going off the leash more and more, and you see that. And so, sure, there's wins that in between there, like WandaVision, especially. But Taika is back for this Thor Love and Thunder, which is the weirdest title. Like, let's just be real. What does that even mean? Like, that's Thor 4. We go from Ragnarok to Love and Thunder. Very strange. Whatever's happening with Shang-Chi, like, we'll see. I think they're going to go off the rails too far, and they're just going to have to reel it back at some point.
Well, based on everything that we know, Disney's doing something really interesting, which is you're going to get new content pretty much every month for the next calendar year.
Which is
when
great.
You have that much coming at you, you're going to have some misses.
Yeah.
You can't be batting 1,000 when you're getting a hell of a lot more pitches. Mm-hmm. When it used to be, it was one. And the summer one, and then it was summer, and then there was a winter one. It was like 2, right? It's the same thing. When you start cramming them down, you're going to get some misses. It's just inevitable. This one looked like one, but I will be the first one to acknowledge that I was wrong if it was great. I have no problem with that. I'm not invested. Like, I hate these characters or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just thought the trailer was boring. That being said, I saw Captain Marvel. I'm like, oh, it wasn't bad. And I saw it the second time, and I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever sat through in my entire life. And I was drunk when I saw the first one because I hate it. Like, I will be the first one to admit when I'm wrong. This trailer just seemed dull. And I think you're right. They're going to have misses. There's just too much material coming out there for it to be good. Yeah. And it also means that the shows are going to have boring episodes.
Yep. And it shouldn't. And I just want to toss Eternals in there as like Eternals, they might blow it because Eternals is already starting to seem like it has nothing to do with anything. And we don't even have anything out with it yet. I think they can get away with a lot just because people don't know about the characters, but people know some things. At least the comic book fans do, you know, as far as Eternals and Shang-Chi go. But you're right. You know, there is a lot of content that all can't be 100%. You know, nobody's perfect. Like it happens. That's fine. But I just think we're gonna get into this thing like, whoa, we're pumping out too much and we're not quality checking, and we gotta have a plan. We gotta make sure we're telling good stories. And,
but at the same time,
whatever.
you've delayed everything a year. You should have watched this like 7 times already and like figured anything out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my opinion. I don't
Dude, Lance, you just said something, and I would love to I'd be a fly on the wall. So I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan, and the most anticipated film of my adult life. No joking around. You can ask him. I have theories about why it's too good to be true. Is the new Ghostbusters movie Afterlife? It's been delayed 1.5 years, and now it comes out in November. I should already own it. It should have been out last May, right? And so anyway, they delayed the film, and then they did that. Remember, what's Olaf's name? The guy that does the voice of Olaf. He's a comedian. He's really
funny.
I don't know. But
Josh,
he did a YouTube series. Josh Gad. Gad. And he did the one called Reunited Together, and he was bringing back the cast of Ferris Bueller and all this other stuff. So we brought the Ghostbusters group back, and he said something interesting, Lance, and I was just curious. You just said it. He said, we have an extra 1.5 years. At the time, it was just 1 year. They delayed it 1 year. They didn't move it the second time. He goes, so I have a lot more time to edit and go back. Okay, so that's what you just said. If you know you had an extra year, wouldn't you really do some sample sizes? Like really sit on it. You know that there is no rush for you to get this out. I think it's weird. I think that coming out of this, when things have been delayed, you should be on fire. You've had more time to make this trailer and this film or series than ever in the history of the industry, because you got a free year. You got an extra year. So Jason Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters, he said that they used it to really go back and try to trim up scenes and really go back. They had an extra year. So I'm like, you know what? You just said what I was thinking. Like, that's weird. There's a long time sitting on this. And for this trailer to be that lackluster when they had an extra calendar 12 months to tune it up, I don't know. Was it missed? Am I just missing the point?
Why didn't Disney do that to anything? And I feel like they didn't, because we went back and watched WandaVision, and then we had certain questions that were left up in the air. And they're like, oh, yeah, there was this whole thing at the end where you would have saw Mr. Scratches or Snatches or whatever the frick his name was a demon, and he attacks, you know, Monica and whoever. And I was like, but it got delayed. Like, nobody could sit there at home and finish the special effects. Like, it was there for 1 year. Like, aren't you Disney? Aren't your stocks like $200 a share? Like, what else were you doing?
That's my exact thought. Oh, weird.
I don't know. Maybe the stock thing was a bad example because Tesla's like $700 a share, but you know what I mean.
Plus, they split so many times. I mean,
yeah. That's the thing is the splitting. But gosh, stock talk is a whole nother podcast in a different ballpark.
It's just interesting that I just like how you brought it up, because I've had that conversation at home, and my wife thinks the exact opposite. She thinks that if you overanalyze too much, you're going to ruin.
You can. That's definitely possible.
100%.
Definitely.
You start second guessing yourself, and you really shouldn't. Sometimes you just need to go with your first thought process and just go with it. But it's just, I don't know. This trailer is just not enough to get people to come see it. That's all it is. I mean, and the other thing is, like, we've been waiting so long, and it's just like, that's what you give me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like waiting 2 years. You're like, this person keeps telling you, I'm a great cook. I'm going to make you the best meal. And then he hands you like a hot dog from, the place down the street. You know what I mean? Like, what is this nonsense?
It's a Sam's Club hot dog. It's pretty good.
Well, Sam's Club's hot dogs, I mean, for the dollar or whatever is not bad. I mean, it still tastes like it's made of all the leftover parts, but,
are we really talking about hot dogs?
So yeah, why not? This is Nightcap Chat. We talk about whatever we want.
We do.
So Lance, I texted you about the trailer. Oh no, I didn't. No, I didn't. We were talking about Dogecoin. Because we both invested in the Dogecoin stock preemptively. Or no, I did. I invested before all this stuff, which we won't talk about. But I also, in between, I sent you a link to a Marvel Legends figure because Lance collects Iron Man figures. And within the Shang-Chi wave, there's a video game Marvel Legends character, and there's a comic book Marvel Legends character. I mean, Marvel character. And the comic book one is AI Iron Man. Do you think that's a hint that, like, sure, this is the comic book one, but is this possibly a spoiler? Like, are they gonna bring back Robert Downey Jr. as an AI? Because that's not what the figure was. The figure was a comic book Iron Man. You know.
So I personally wouldn't be surprised if they made a deal with Robert saying like, hey, we'll pay you $100 million for this last film, but give us the rights to scan your face and we can put you as an AI in a couple of movies. Because that what would be so difficult? They did that with Star Wars. They made real people. Forget about like an AI, which is supposed to look fake, right? Well, look real, but like not.
Yeah, it's a projection, a hologram.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So it's not a big deal. So you could do that and have Iron Man in it. But the other thing I thought of is, what if he's in it, right? But because this Shang-Chi movie isn't going to be only a like, oh, this is happening now in the Marvel universe, because this is going to go through his whole life. So Iron Man could be in it at any point of the film, because this is him growing up and then coming to now. So Iron Man could be in this, whether it was him in Iron Man 1, like flying around looking for, or Iron Man 3 or something, looking for the Mandarin or something. Like, we don't know that. So it wouldn't be surprising, really, if he was in it and it was kind of trying to be hidden or as a hologram or otherwise. But they need some type of hint to get me to come see this freaking film.
Well, hey, that was my next question.
Hey, you just mentioned something. So the people that you brought up in Star Wars, I think you're talking about Leia,
Leia, Tarkin,
and they've been given permission by the family to use that. I'm just curious, as a movie fan, I don't know how this would work. What the hell would that contract look like? Like, hey, Robert Downey, thank you. We treated you really well. We're asking for one more thing. Name your dollar amount so that we can use your face in these films. I don't think I've ever heard of that happening in modern day when the people are still alive doing it. That must be some blank check craziness, because if he didn't like one thing that they did with it, he would have nothing. True. He would just be like, literally, dude, I signed off and Disney's been using my face. And what the hell does that mean? Like, that is a crazy.
It's usage rights. They're expensive.
They could charge him per minute, maybe. Like, hey, for every minute I'm in the film, you need to pay me.
But whatever. Also, there might be a clause like, I have to sign off on the script,
like a trade clause, and something like that. That's got to be something that everybody agrees on. But that means he's still super invested. That means he's never going to be away. I remember that this was a big conversation when Spider-Man, the first one, came out. Is he going to end up going away? Is he always just going to be a voice or an AI in the helmet? While Spider-Man's doing his thing, talking to him. So, I mean, you're literally talking about something bizarre, using his face. I don't think that we're that far off from doing it today. And if it was ever going to work, it would work in your exact scenario. I can't imagine what it would be like paying the highest paid actor today just to use his likeness. Mm-hmm. I mean, what would that contract be like? It might be more than if he was acting it, because there's some. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know.
Because they technically wouldn't have to even use his voice. They could just use like a Jarvis type voice to use his.
Forget about Jarvis voice. I mean, yeah, there'll be a degree of distortion, but like there's a whole voiceover section. There's a whole section of voiceovers. Like when you see these, especially movie trailers, where like where you see like Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool or otherwise,
mm-hmm.
Saying a little something like, and you hear that little something in a trailer, but it's not in the movie. A lot of the times that's a voice actor doing those lines. I believe Joe Gaudette is the voice actor who does a lot of that for Ryan Reynolds. So whenever you hear something weird in a trailer that's not in the movie, a lot of the times it's the voice match
It's
voice
not even
actor
him doing it.
Yeah, a lot of time. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna pay this voice actor, X amount to do this, or are you gonna pay Ryan Reynolds to come into the studio to do this one line?
To come into a studio for one line. Yeah.
No, you're not going to do that. That's why they pay these little voice matches for whatever. So you can theoretically do that for Robert Downey Jr. You buy out his likeness, and then you just have to, have somebody do a few lines.
That's such a crazy
and unfortunately, I don't even want to say this because I refuse. This is a Marvel thing that I will not see. But I could see them doing this if they plan on doing the Ironheart thing, and then somehow he's involved with her getting Iron Man armor and I don't want to see that. And if that happens, I will never watch anything that has anything to do with her. But I can see that happening.
Here's something else too. Was this already set up? Because at the end of Endgame, when his daughter is looking at a projection of him saying goodbye and it's coming out of the helmet, is that the first steps toward setting up this AI version of Tony Stark? Definitely. You see what I mean? Is that the little seed they planted? What?
This Blade's crystal ball over
this
here
is, this is Blade's crystal ball.
That's not even crystal ball material. I never even thought about it before. That would be the first one because he actually did do that. And it was super sweet and it fit really well and it was awesome. And it was executed perfectly. I'm stuck on that. I would love to be a fly on the wall again, see what that contract negotiation would be like. Hey, Robert, you live in LA too. Let's go meet in Burbank. Let's just talk about what it's like to use your likeness. You don't have to do anything. We're just going to use your likeness. And God, that'd be weird. That would change the whole movie industry because then people would sign 2 contracts, one for the one that I'm filming and then one for the likeness afterwards. And it would have to be on some sort of a scale. And then you would end up using the same likeness forever. I think it would change.
Well, there's weird contracts out there, off the top of my head. I believe Pierce Brosnan can no longer appear in a tuxedo in any other film after James Bond. They because bought that out. But he did Remington Steele, where he wore a tuxedo. So that's the only other Pierce Brosnan tuxedo appearance is that show. After Bond, he can't wear a tuxedo in a movie anymore. How can you imagine? I could do whatever you want, but I cannot put on a tuxedo.
What if his movie deal is like the Jack Nicholson deal, where it's you can put me in a film, but I get 20% or whatever of any film I get put into. Yeah. So they were like, Shang-Chi, this might bomb. Let's just throw him in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll take. Oh my God, it's great.
That's messed up.
Dude, that's a kind of a good, I don't know. That's interesting. That's kind of how Batman worked, right?
Yeah.
And that's why he did that.
He made so much out of Batman for doing that.
Highest paid actor history of actors because of that. And it was only 20 years afterwards that they realized that it's the biggest mistake ever. Tim Burton still talks about it. It was a great thing. He just I don't care. I just wanted him in there. Also, you have to remember he has top billing on that. I think it's so cool.
Jack Nicholson has top billing on Batman?
On Batman 1. Yep. It's Jack Nicholson.
I don't know if I realized that.
Yeah, wow. That was part of his thing. He goes, I want top billing, and then I want to take I think it's 13% or whatever it was. And at the time, they had never made one like that before. So he's in my marketing class when I took it. He's one of the study pieces, which is so freaking cool. The other one that's interesting is not movie related, but it's sports related. Lance, you might get mad at me for calling it a sport, but
don't say Benia.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. So when he signed with Budweiser, part of his deal was what you just mentioned, that he cannot be seen holding another beer for 70 years. He can only hold regular red can Budweiser. So they even said that they would make him the beverage of his choice and can it in the beer can that is that one, so he could go drink his own.
What?
Yeah, so he cannot be seen holding another beverage outside.
I was gonna say like I would never only drink Bud Light or Budweiser or whatever.
Yeah. So they said they would do it, and that happens in hockey today. When you're one of the top 10 players, you make more off your hockey stick deals. And the top stick is CCM's Titan, whatever it's called, which is a bright yellow stick. If you don't like that stick, but you still want to make the money, they will make you your Bauer stick gray and a primer, and then CCM will paint it that way so that you can do it. But you paid to never hold another stick as long as that's what it is. There are 2 Coyotes that have that deal right now. So it's weird because you buy their used stuff at the end of the year, and they have to put a disclaimer on it that this says it's a CCM, but it's really a Bauer. So anyway, it's just
so they're pretending it's their stick.
Yes, the only.
But you can use whatever you want.
That's false advertising.
Well, that's what my wife says. She thinks that's false advertising. The only person that I know that has the biggest lucrative deal like that actually owns up and loves it is Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods got paid more money by Nike than anybody ever to represent and hold that nonsense. And he says that it's still the greatest equipment ever, and that's all he uses. So you don't know if that's fake or what, but I mean, the other people kind of admit it. You can look it up. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is part of his thing. He can never hold another can in his hand.
My only argument against the hockey stick thing being false advertisement, because yes, the illusion there is you're using the whatever stick, and you're not. But what's the difference if you're using a billboard? You know, like, why isn't it just like you paint the company like it's a billboard thing, right?
Yeah,
you're painting the stick however you want. So that's my little devil's advocate.
You're not wrong. I didn't know it was a thing.
That's weird. I've never heard that. That's really weird.
I just think like the Dale Earnhardt thing I get, but like these other people are performing something with a certain equipment, and then you're going to think you're going to get a similar performance out of it, but it's not what they're using. So to me, that's almost not okay, but at the same time, you know, whatever. But that's just kind of
one side note on that it's not really whatever. This is a really stupid topic now, but hockey players in the NHL today, they pay for their own sticks. So one of the things is the teams do not cover sticks anymore. They stopped paying for sticks in the 90s. And you think that that's stupid, but it's because of this exact thing. People were getting paid to wear this glove and this. So the team was like, we're not going to specially pay for your stuff. If you're getting paid to wear this, you better get it. So people started doing it that way, but you get paid to use the big brand, even if you don't like it. So a lot of the hockey players play for league minimum, and they'll take 400 sticks and they will have them all primered and painted and wear the other one just so that they can get paid to use that merch. So
makes sense. So we're making money, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I had no idea.
If you're a rookie, you can use team equipment and you get whatever you get. But when you start getting up there, Sidney Crosby hasn't used team merchandise like ever. He buys all of his stuff is given to him, but his is all branding like all of them. But you know, anyway, the hockey thing is a little more marketing. I just thought that the race car driver, the whole thing was if he was at a barbecue and he had a Miller Lite can, he would lose everything. That was the whole point of the thing, was like, if you ever saw him holding a can of another beer, like his whole world would be shut down. The lawsuit would be outrageous because he got a ton of money to be the regular Budweiser rep.
I guess for that amount of money, like you would even carry around a fake Budweiser sleeve thing to disguise whatever you needed. Like it would be in your car.
The sleeve, the cozy was invented was because of that, probably.
I could leave for a second. I have koozies downstairs that look like soda cans so that you can put a beer can in them and hold them. I don't know why you couldn't just do that, but that was his whole thing. I remember it was a whole thing. Like if he got caught with it was something like $70 million and he would have to pay back royalties from his other years.
Wow.
Like the threat was real.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, if Budweiser sponsored me, I'd be like, yeah, you better load up some Guinness and Budweiser cans or something, because I'm not drinking that swell. I'm sorry. Not a chance. I'll take your money though. I'll pose with it.
Sorry, whenever I'm on, I absolutely derail the show. I don't know how we got into marketing and branding.
What do you mean? We derail ourselves. Like we're gonna change the name of Nightcap Chat to
That's right.
What did we say last time? It was the train off the train.
You said a lot of things.
Yeah.
Lance grunted at me.
Lance grunted. Yeah.
He also predicted Starro. Nicely done. And that's exactly how it sounded, by the way. Right into the mic. Yeah.
Hey, he was probably going to make a funny, sarcastic remark, and then we probably derailed him. Because that's what we do.
I hold myself back a lot. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I just half the time I just keep my mouth shut. I'm like, what, just don't even say anything. Sometimes it's better to just keep your mouth shut.
I want to hear the post credits of any time I'm involved in the conversation. What the hell are you guys actually saying about me?
We should start is it, how do you pronounce it? Is it Patreon?
Patreon.
Start a Patreon with all of the stuff that we just cut out. Like that's what you get out of it. Cause like last week I cut out like 15 minutes. That was technical difficulties, but the episode before that, oh, wait a second. What episode is this? I don't even know. I think it's episode 95. I cut out like 30 minutes and I think I said it, and it's a long episode, and we like most of it, like we were just way off topic anyway, but I still cut
out.
Was
I on that one?
No. 2 episodes ago?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But we went so off the rails. I cut out this whole thing with Spawn and Ghost Rider and something else. I don't even know what happened. But I had to cut it out because it was starting to get into like the 145 mark, and I was like, we can't do this. This isn't a special episode. We just can't shut up. I just gotta cut it out.
You could have shaved like an hour off of the St. Patrick's Day episode of just my parts, and I still would have been on there. That is the worst on-air performance I've ever had in my life.
No. What? I love
Lance, go back and listen.
Lance,
to it. I wouldn't shut
Steve,
hell up on the most nonsense.
Steve, the last St. Patrick's Day episode is one of my personal top 5 favorite Nightcap chat episodes.
Oh, dude. It was fun to do, but re-listening to it, I'm like, Steve, shut up.
No,
I don't care.
You're not. No, that means you're not
your own critic.
You're not past the listening to yourself thing.
I've been listening to myself for freaking ever.
I know, but
I hated that
you're still not past it.
No, I'm a rookie.
And
I'm chewing ice on the air. I told you, I'm a pro.
I love chewing ice.
I love chewing ice too. Oh my gosh.
This is that really small, crunchy ice.
Yeah, you got the Chick-fil-A. That's a good ice.
Yeah, this is the Sonic ice. I used to work at Sonic, and now they sell it by the bag. Smartest idea ever.
Yeah, Sonic's been selling that ice. We used to go there just to pick it up at parties.
Yeah.
That was the best stuff. Imagine getting ready for a party like in your college years. Like you go get the alcohol. I'm like, I got to get that Sonic ice.
Yep.
That was.
You want to know the Sonic story about the ice? It'll be really short. When I worked there, it was my first job, and you used to have to shovel it out of that big ice maker. It's a giant stainless steel ice maker, and it's a clear plastic shovel. You just scoop it up and you go and fill up the bucket, and then you pour that into where you have your fountain, right?
Yeah.
Well, the handle of the scooper broke, and it was clear, and it went into the ice. So now there were little pieces of plastic, and they were like, we don't know what to do. So they turned it off.
To do. Yeah.
They melted it with a hairdryer because they needed to finish it. You couldn't warm it up. So the girl that worked there came over with a hairdryer extension cord and just went like this for 40 minutes to melt it so we could clear out the ice, clean it, and take out the broken pieces of the plastic. And in the meantime, we had to get ready ice from the gas station next door to put in the cups, and we heard from everybody that they hated the ice. So now they use stainless steel shovels instead.
Yeah, no kidding.
Stupid story. You can cut this out of the show. That meant nothing.
That's crazy.
No, that's I'm glad that it got resolved. If it didn't, if you served the plastic within the ice, I probably would have had to have cut it out for the sake of protecting everybody. But I'm glad you guys did the right thing. Yeah.
Sonic in San Antonio. My first job, baby. I was a rollerblading car hop, and I get to say that we dealt with the situation professionally, and we melted like 40 pounds of ice. It's really fun.
That was very professional. I'm so proud of you guys.
Can you rollerblade for me now?
Oh, dude, I'll rollerblade circles around you.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
I'll deliver you stuff.
I do have two more things I want to bring up real quick before we wrap this up. And if you guys have anything else pop culture related that you want to mention as well, one thing is like I know I've been playing the Yakuza series, and like every episode, like I've been dying to just talk about it. I'm not going to sit here forever and talk about it, but my gosh, I know I'm late to the game. These games have been out forever, and there's like 8 of them now. The Yakuza games are so good, and you're missing out. I'm going to find an excuse to talk about them in depth in Nightcap chat. But I finished zero. I'm getting to the middle of 1. You guys have anything else before we wrap this up?
No,
Yep.
I burnt my time tonight. I'm good.
Yeah, Blade, how do you feel about Aloy being in Fortnite?
Oh man. It's like I'm a Marvel fan, obviously. If you listen to Nightcap chat, I love Marvel. Some of my favorite characters, if you listen to our top 10 list, like I love Deadpool, I love Ghost Rider, I love Blade. And they've all been in Fortnite. And that was not enough to get me to re-download Fortnite. Like I don't like Fortnite. I've deleted it. But this week, or last week, or whatever, they added Aloy and Tomb Raider. Aloy, of course, is the main character from Horizon Zero Dawn in Tomb Raider. Lara Croft is from the Tomb Raider franchise. And I have to say, I think I'm going to install Fortnite this week just to unlock Aloy, and then I'm just going to delete it again. Like I don't know what I'm going to even do with. Yes, that's her. She's awesome. She's one of my favorite video game characters of all time. She's just such a cool character. Like I'm ready. I don't understand why she's in Fortnite. I also love Lara Croft. So like I'm just going to go for both.
There's actually a limited time mode called Aloy and Lara, and they ended up stopping it because there was a glitch, but they're going to be putting it back out. That it's literally a game mode with Lara Croft and Aloy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Steve has to Google who Aloy is.
I don't know who the hell this is. She looks really cool though.
Hell yeah. I've got her
She's
pops. Awesome. She's the best. You got to. Oh, Horizon Zero Dawn is free on PlayStation 4 as of today. It is one of my favorite single player games of all time. So if you have PlayStation 4, download Horizon Zero Dawn. It is free. Guys, it is free for the next 29, 30 days or whatever. Go download it. Even if you're not going to play it right now, just download it to get it in your library so you can play it. Do not miss this. The sequel is coming out either later this year or early next year or whatever. Play this game.
Unlike
one of the
Blade,
greatest games
I
of all
played
time.
this when it first came out, and I thought it was phenomenal. It was definitely one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, I was late to this, just like Yakuza, but I loved it. And like I have a hard time getting into first player games. That's why I don't play them too often. This was the first player perspective game that I've played in years and years and years that I immediately got hooked. I don't want to overhype this for anybody, but I was immediately hooked. Just the opening cinematic, I was like, yes, I'm in this. I'm in it to win it. Like we're doing it. Download this game. If you're playing one game this year, play Horizon Zero Dawn for free. My goodness.
Can I bring back something that I did forget from last week's episode that made me laugh really hard?
What was that?
Is when you said that the least popular episode is the one about McDonald's toys, and then Lance goes, "That's why
that was my guess.
Bringing Ronald McDonald into Fortnite because they're using the show as an example of what not to do." And you said that's why Ronald McDonald's out there, and then one of you goes, "The purple guy, Grimace, he'd be pretty cool." I was like, "What am I listening to? This is the stupidest thing ever."
I do remember that because obviously I wasn't buying comics on eBay in the middle of recording. Speaking of games, if you want to play a game that features your favorite host, Blade O'Neill, host of Nightcap Chat, the pop culture podcast where we talk all things comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and more. I've been talking about this for a while. Out now on Nintendo Switch, there is a game called Deiland Pocket Planet. Oh, there's a picture of me. Deiland Pocket Planet out on Nintendo Switch. I play a cool character called Loke. He's a little wizard guy. It's all walla noises, so it's like if you played Animal Crossing, it's like it's the same kind of thing. It's like little reaction noises. So I play this little wizard guy. He's an NPC. It was lot of fun to play this character. So I am in that game. So I'll include a link to that in the description of this episode's podcast if you're interested in checking it out.
Can we get like a little like sample or
a sample? Yeah. What kind of
noise sample?
What kind of reaction are you?
Like your what's your just give us like your favorite.
I don't know
reaction that you did. Maybe.
My favorite one. I don't think I can replicate it because I was sitting in my booth and I was doing take after take, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way or anything, but there's a sad reaction. And I haven't found enough gameplay to figure out which one they chose because I gave them lots of options. But as I was playing them back in my headphones, one of my sad reactions, like hearing yourself is like one thing like you don't always get like okay, like that's probably fine. But I did this one sad reaction and it broke my heart. I was like, wow, that guy sounds really sad, you know. And I hope that the one that really like made me sad, like felt sad listening to it in my headphones, made it in there because I want people.
Give us a happy one.
Give us your happy one. Yeah.
Just.
Oh.
Okay.
Something like that. There's a little something more to it when I played it because he's an older wizard, so I think I had a little more of a raspy character. When I was doing it. You know what was really fun was when it came out, I wanted to see which Twitch streamers were playing it. And as I was going through them, I found a Twitch streamer and like, I kid you not, he was doing something and like a few seconds later, my character starts landing on a balloon. And I was like, no way, this is me. And he started reading the lines over me and he did his own interpretation of the character, which was funny. But I couldn't hear and I couldn't hear.
I wanted to kill myself because I so badly just wanted to hear you, but all he was doing was reading really loudly, and it was mic over.
Yeah,
what you were saying, I couldn't hear anything.
It was fun to hear all the different interpretations of like what these different streamers thought. Like oh, he's a really old guy. Oh, I'm really old. Like that's not what it was doing, but not that it was wrong, you know. But I just thought it was funny to hear different streamers kind of like trying to read the lines and stuff, you know. So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know, it'd be cool if we could get you to like read your own lines.
I could do that.
Of like what you thought, like do a stream of like you reading your character, like whatever you thought his voice would have sounded like.
I could do that. Yeah, that would be fun. There's I didn't realize like I actually like I know other voice actors that were in this game too, and like I guess none of us told each other because like some of us know each other, but yeah, so if you're interested in checking that game out, I'll have the link there in the description. If you enjoyed Nightcap Chat, leave those reviews, especially on platforms like iTunes, 5 stars, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Verbal, YouTube, and wherever fine podcasts are given away. You know, you follow some of my escapades at Blade O'Neill. That's ONEILL. On Instagram and Twitter, and Blade O'Neill VO on Facebook.
Tales of Lance on Twitch.
You always do.
Go there. Thanks.
Why is the best audio of the whole show when Lance reads it and he says this thing? Tales of Lance.
And what about you, Steve?
You already did it for me. I don't need to do it. I'm happy with it. I got a whole commercial. Read as a wizard.
That's true. And there'll be a link to Yakiway appraisals on the description of this podcast. We're Nightcap Chat, and you follow us on Facebook, and if you really want to Twitter, but we don't use it, it's at Nightcap Chat and Nightcap_chat on Instagram. For weeks and weeks and weeks, I've been talking about doing a Twitch stream where I'm going to put in some Pokemon cards. I could say I'm going to do it this week, but I don't know. I'm going to try my best. We'll see. I have to set up the rest of OBS. I bought more Pokemon cards to open. I bought another box. So I added to the stack of Shining Fates. So there's even more Pokemon cards.
Lance, did you watch when he was opening those and they derailed the show in the most artistic way possible?
I don't think so. I don't even know what you're talking about.
He was opening the cards
on Facebook.
Online, and so on Facebook. So I joined in.
I texted you.
I don't know what's happening. So I asked him these stupid questions. And I asked one, and I said, if she was a character, who was it? Brie Larson?
You asked me. Well, first it was Liam
No,
Neeson.
it was Toby. I said if Toby Maguire was a Pokemon character, and the best thing is he had a response in like a heartbeat. I asked him like 3 other ones, and he had to think. But I asked Toby Maguire, and he said it. Sarah was driving, and she almost swerved off the road because she knew right away what you meant, and she was like, "Dude, he's like this little rat guy or something." The way she was describing
Diglett. It was Diglett.
Yeah, it
specifically,
was so funny.
specifically, a Lola Diglett was what I was getting at.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't know what is going on in that show, so I was messing with him in there. But when I asked what character Tobey Maguire was, and he had an answer right away, it made my day. That was awesome.
The answer was clear.
Makes sense.
Is that a coaster?
No.
But he's chewing on it, so
I don't know what. It looks rubbery.
it's a chew toy.
Close.
It's for his furry fantasy.
No,
Oh.
not close at all.
Not close.
What does the fox say?
Yeah,
That's what it is. But we appreciate you all taking the time to listen. If you do enjoy the Nightcap Chat, share it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Tell your friends about it. Tell your parents about it. Tell your loved ones about it. Tell a stranger about it. We love you all. Be safe, and we'll catch you all next week.
Have a good week. The ice is a good touch.